Welcome back. Breaking news. News just into us this morning that retired Associate Justice of the Supreme Court David Souter has died at the age of 85. Souter was appointed to the court by then-President George H.W. Bush in 1990 and served more than 19 years before retiring in 2009. Chief Justice John Roberts said in a statement that Justice David Souter served our court with great distinction for nearly 20 years. He brought uncommon wisdom and kindness to a lifetime of public service. After retiring to his beloved New Hampshire in 2009, he continued to render significant service to our branch by sitting regularly on the Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit for more than a decade. He will be greatly missed. Souter died peacefully yesterday at his home in New Hampshire. And Doug Brinkley, he was appointed by a Republican president, but became a mainstay of the liberal wing of the court. Retired young. He was only 69, but he wanted to go back home to New Hampshire, allowing President Barack Obama to appoint Justice Sotomayor. He was someone who was known as, not one for Washington's social circuit, but rather come home with a book, very thoughtful, very learned, and someone who, as we heard from Chief Justice Roberts, will be missed.
A real Massachusetts intellectual. I mean, he had really a great bond with John Sununu, who convinced George Herbert Walker Bush, don't worry, he's a conservative. But after Clarence Thomas got into the court, Souter kind of saw his role as being a middling person. There are in some major cases he sided with liberals. I mean, I'm just off the top of my head can remember his. I remember his dealing with Planned Parenthood and making sure that that continued. And I recall that he was able to talk about things like not having cameras in the Supreme Court because it become a circus. And now look at it right now at the White House, where the cameras every day, it becomes like a reality show. So he goes down as a great justice and one that was able to kind of hang in there in the middle, didn't like things radical to happen all at once, an incrementalist in the court.
Susan Page, you've obviously followed the Supreme Court for a long time. I want to hear your thoughts about the legacy of Justice Souter, including how the way his views perhaps shifted on the court, changed the way the White House vets potential members of the highest court in the land.
Yeah, Justice Souter, the experience with Justice Souter changed the way White Houses handled Supreme Court nominations, because what George H.W. Bush had was the assurance of Senator Warren Rudman that his good friend David Souter would be a conservative voice. But they didn't know that from the experience that he had on the bench. They didn't have ideological writings that showed them that. They sort of took Rudman's word for it. And then, of course, once he got on the court, he did not behave in the way President Bush had expected him to, not the conservative voice, much to the anger of many conservatives, because of course you only get so many chances to nominate a Supreme Court justice. Since then, no president has put forward a justice knowing as little about how he or she is going to behave on the court bench as happened with Justice Souter. He was an object lesson in the negative for presidents thinking about these key appointments, Jonathan.
President Trump has